our Do the Move, episode number 1. My name's Chad. I've messed this up because you couldn't hear anything because I'm an idiot. We are a collective group of buddies who've kind of met up along the last couple of years or so, going to wrestling shows and whatnot. This kind of started as a joke, started by Mr. Nick Riccardi. Do the move! He would scream out at all the wrestling shows we went to just because it was so vague. You don't know what the hell movie he was talking about. It's just really funny and made people laugh. So we decided to call ourselves that. My name's Chad. Probably in the hierarchy of wrestling fans, probably way below everybody else here. So I'm just kind of going to do the hosting and we'll go from there. So yeah, we'll go through introductions here once again since I fucked that up.
You royally fucked that up.
I royally fucked that up. So that's why I don't do podcasts.
Right.
We'll start with Rich if he wants to go through his whole spiel again.
All right. So my name is Rich Like the Money once again. And this is Do the Move podcast. So I'm wearing the hat. So if you ever see me at a live event within the Chicago area, be able to say what's up, peep at me, be doing some Q&As as we get this thing on and popping. I'm wearing a comfy right now because I'm trying to get sick, but I'm not trying to get sick, so I'm burning balls right now. But I will not be wearing the comfy unless people want me to wear the comfy, and then I will suffer for that. But I'm not going to do that. And yeah, I'm really excited to be with this group of guys and met them at All Out. They took me in bunch of ranges of opinions here, and so I hopefully that gives the audience, a little taste of everything. So I'm gonna pass it on to my good friend over here, Joey.
Thank you very much, Rich. During the first original attempted recording of this, something that was mentioned by Rich is that we have a really good range of opinions or perspectives, tones, styles, whatever you want to call it. I definitely would consider myself more of a realist, which can often be viewed as more of a cynic, negative Nancy, whatever you want to call it. For the bunch, I always try to give evidence for my reasons, though, which can spark pretty fun debates. I am a little bit positive, too, as Bob and I will show later on. There are things that I enjoy about this as well. I want to take a little credit for getting Chad back into wrestling as well as Bob. We went to Money in the Bank 2018, just kind of on a whim, Chad and I, and it really just sparked a deeper friendship, which spiraled into this larger group. And even though Brian, I know, was a huge fan with it, but it kind of just trickled into a larger group of guys here. Bob doing his best Kip Sabian impression. Whenever you're ready, Roberto. Do the move.
Hey guys, to piggyback off of Joey and Rich and Chad, longtime wrestling fan. Again, by the way, I'm Bob. I'm more in the middle of everything, so I might lean a little left, a little right in the middle. Again, I'm not somebody who's a little harsh. I'm again right in the middle. I'll pass it on to Johnny over here.
What's up, guys? Johnny, mostly Johnny. And there was a little period of time where after CM Punk's departure, I stopped watching because it was, recently got back into it. I'll say September, because of, I worked with Bob and we both liked, wrestling, and that just came out of nowhere. But yeah, we went to a couple, events together, Then I met the rest of the group, they're all cool, all chill. My opinion about wrestling, there's some things I like, some things I really don't like, but it's all for the art. To the move.
All right, what's up, everybody? You know who it is. It's your boy, Nick. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. When we go to wrestling shows, I will, I'll wear the hat of creator of the Do the Move chant or Do the Move shout. Because, we just ultimately as wrestling fans, we just want to see them do the move. That one move. It doesn't matter which move it is, but there's going to be a time and place for that one move. Joey, I know, is a big, super kick guy, loves it, right? His favorite wrestlers are the Young Bucks. So, he wants to see them do the move. That's what I want to see. I want to see the move, That's all it is. It's just we're all here. We're all having fun. We're all watching grown men or grown women do some moves. So do the damn move.
I'll let Bob and Joey start with their chef's kiss because they're messaging me and bugging me about that. So they're going to explain that and walk us all through that. So
literally this was come up with during Hell in a Cell on Sunday, where again, I can be viewed as the cynic of the group, but there are some things that I enjoy about it. More like the finer details, the little things, if you will, of whether it's wrestling, production, sports, etc. And so Bob and I, we did a chef's kiss to one particular thing that we'll both talk about. And I was like, you know what? We can make that our segment name. So Bob, if you want to give your first chef's kiss that you individually are picking, and I'll commentate on it once you're done, saying why it's worthy of that.
Yeah, what happened on last night on Raw? Fellas, if you guys have not watched Raw last night we saw a double turn, all right? Look, I did not expect to see Finn Balor part of the Judgment Day group. I honestly would have preferred Tommaso Ciampa, but he's in the group, and not only is he in the group, but he's taking over, man. He kicked out Edge last night, kicking out Edge, beating him down with Damian Priest. Guys, I fucking love that, man. That was awesome. I felt like I was watching an Attitude Era Raw last night with that. Loved it. Mwah. Mwah. I'm interested to see where they're gonna go with Finn Balor. Joey, remind me, was Balor a heel in NXT?
He was a little bit. He was kind of a tweener during his most recent run when the whole Prince inclusion was started.
Okay, all right. So again, I didn't watch much of NXT during that time, so I'm interested in seeing Finn Balor in this heel run. So that's my French kiss. Mwah.
Chef's kiss, but I do like the French kiss part. French kiss just means there's a little bit of tongue from Bob is all. What I'll add on to that, I wouldn't give it a full chef's kiss from me, just because I feel like they rushed it about 7 months ahead of schedule for turning on Edge. However, what I'll say, and in support of Bob, I checked the YouTube earlier for WWE because I didn't watch Raw live and I wanted to just catch some clips, especially once Bob said that this is going to be his chef's kiss. As of now, that clip on YouTube, on their YouTube, WWE's, has 1.4 million views, about double of the next highest number being Cody Rhodes being attacked by Rollins at 628,000. So
really,
that's quite a big difference. So I'm going to support you on that it did get people talking, but I just don't want it to be where every week just something random and surprising to that level is happening. However, it does add credence to what you're saying, Bob, about it being that worthy of a chef's kiss. I don't know how many people in the call watch NXT in your house this weekend. Sadly, it's no longer called TakeOver. RIP to that. But the opening match, the only non-title match on the card, was Legado del Fantasma versus, I'm just going to say Tony D'Angelo and the two Jamokes, because I don't even know who the heck they are. I guess it's just the D'Angelo family, but legitimately these guys are called like Stacks and Two Dimes, like pretty generic names, honestly.
Uh-huh.
And yet they put on what I thought was a fantastic 6-man tag match where the losing crew had to join the winner's crew. And they're both heelish. So the end of the match was what I'm going to call a chef's kiss. I'll do little Bob's sound effect, in that they both tried to use weapons despite saying, of course, no weapons. And it ends up costing the team that used the weapon first, being Brass Knuckles by Legado, and then a good old crowbar from the Italian mobster family. So gimmicky beyond belief, but I just thought it was fun. And I watched NXT tonight, and they built on it nicely. So chef's kiss to that for making a non-title storyline fun and interesting.
Cool. I unfortunately missed the opening match of NXT in your house this past Saturday. I did catch the rest of the card. I thought it was all right. Again, I had it on the background as I was doing other things around the house. But yeah, I got to go back and catch that opening match, Joey, just so I can go ahead and see that. I'm guessing they're paying homage to Eddie Guerrero with the whole, hey, you know, I didn't use the weapon, he did, right?
The main event actually had that, Bob. So there were so many callbacks. This was just more so trying to one up the other with, of course, the shady mafia style family.
Okay.
Yep.
I again, still got to catch the opening match from that past Saturday.
No problem. Now for our combo, our main course, if you will, Bob Sous Chef, etc. What started this was, Bob, if you want to tell us what started it, and I'll just give the layers of it.
Yeah, Hell in a Cell. We were at Hell in a Cell here at Chicago at the Allstate Arena this past Sunday. And Joey, once we saw Seth Rollins come out in his outfit, you and me both looked at each other and we're like, man, that's fucking awesome what he did there. Joey, go ahead.
Yeah, so the outfit that he's talking about, of course, most of you have seen it. It was the main event of the show. Was the Dusty Rhodes WWF, not E, style polka dots. Poking fun, a callback. I'm going to go take a wild guess here and say that Seth Rollins probably funded that himself. He's been buying these outlandish suits for really no reason other than just to, I guess, be silly and draw attention to himself. And he's done it a couple of times, whether it's doing the Shield entrance during his match with Roman recently at Royal Rumble. Recently, he did it like a year ago now with taking Rey Mysterio's Halloween Havoc purple suit attire. He did that as well. Yep. So just like the finer details like that, it was just fantastic. And I think what's going to get the most attention from that match is the fact, of course, no duh, Cody did it with to steal from Kurt Angle, a broken freaking or torn freaking pec as a result. And so the finer detail, I think, of Dusty's polka dots on Seth is going to be lost in the shuffle to me. So that's the whole point of this segment, is to make known the lesser appreciated aspects of wrestling in the main event. So
how it was at the live event, fellas.
Hey,
how was your?
You want to know how Hell in a Cell was for me? I'll tell you what, Pyro is loud as fuck. Like I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh yeah, all right, cool. Now, like you guys know, I sat literally like right kind of behind the Jumbotron, but like off to the side. Like the seats were great. It was like section 104 or some BS. And I'm sitting there and I'm sitting next to one of my pals, and then I'm sitting next to this like random like mom who said something to me I'll have to get into. But all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, like here we go, fucking Hell in a Cell. It's time to watch some wrestling. Like here we go. And then all of a sudden she goes, oh, lights on. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? And then it's like, boom, 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 boom. And I'm just like, ah. So now, future, you're at a WWE event at least, and you see that red light, go on and start spinning. Chances are there's going to be some pyro, and that shit is not quiet. So that was fun. And then, because I know you guys are all wondering, I could see, Brian's listening very intently. I see his face. This lady. So it's the 6-man tag, right? And Liv Morgan to do the spot where like AJ like tosses him over her head, and she like does a Hurricane Rana to Rhea Ripley. And me, Liv's my girl, right? For always and forever. And I'm like, oh man, like me next, like my turn, do it to me, right? And then she had to be like a 40, 50-year-old woman, like husband's next to her, kids are next to her, whatever. She goes, you should do that to me too. And I was just like, yeah, that's, do the move, lady. Go ahead, get in there.
So I took one of my friends who I've known probably for about 15 years through like sim racing stuff on the computer, online racing, all that fun shit. Brought him to his first show, and honestly, he had a really good time. I was surprised. I usually get worried anytime I bring my friends to things that, they're not totally into following or anything like that, like racing or wrestling, obviously. So he loved it. I thought it was a really good pay-per-view as well. I don't know where I'd rank it, as far as WWE shows that I've gone to. But I was pretty impressed. I mean, I kind of went in there with low expectations because I haven't really been as positive about WWE programming. And I don't know, probably since Undertaker stopped wrestling full time, because I'm just that much of a mark for Mark Calloway. Yeah, it was fun. Obviously, match of the night was Cody and Seth. It was pretty incredible. I know I've hated on Cody a lot, especially throughout his AEW run, just because I thought he was a little full of himself. But I have to give him props for wrestling with the torn pec. It's the nastiest shit I've seen. And I know Triple H did that, which is kind of funny because he wants to be Triple H, is what everybody says about him. But that's just insane. I don't know how he was able to move his arm or anything and kind of get through that match. So that was cool. Surprised he went over, since Seth has kind of been losing every pay-per-view with them in the last 3 or 4 events. But that's cool. Women's triple threat match was a banger. That was a really good way to kick off the show. I think that was the first match, right? Might be wrong.
Yeah, it was. It definitely was. For people on the Peacock, I think me and Johnny were the ones watching it on the cock. Yeah, that's what they call it, the Peacock. It's a premium live event, and yeah, that was the first match. I cannot stand Michael Cole's voice. I just like you at the live events, right? But no, that was definitely a banger. We had Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Becky Lynch. Great. If you go in with low expectations with WWE, if you watch it on a week-to-week basis, it's very bland, very boring. But they do know how to put on a premium live event. But overall, the match was fantastic.
For what it was, premium live event wasn't that bad. There was things, obviously that could go better. I was trying to go last minute, but those resale tickets were pretty pricey. So shout out to Seth Rollins though, constantly putting Cody over. Cody, wrestling like that, shit, man. I don't know who else can do this shit. The women's triple threat, it was good. I was really good. Care less about Almost versus Bobby.
Hey Jonathan, I will add on to this. You said you didn't care for that match, but again, we were there live, and dude, the crowd was hot for Bobby Lashley, man. They were going ape shit for the guy. So I didn't care for the match, but being there and listening to the crowd, man, they made me care for the match. So I thought it was all right.
Yeah, Bobby does what he can with, but I just want this feud to be over by now.
Believe me, I believe it's over again.
I feel like it is.
Yeah, it's Lashley's moving on, but again, I hope for the best for Lashley, because after last night, Joey and Chad, you guys were there. You guys heard the crowd going crazy for Lashley. So I hope they do something with Lashley, especially now that Cody is out of the mix. Let's insert Lashley into the mix,
Future for that.
Oh yeah, future opponent for Roman. Say
I think you could potentially give him some sort of title along the line here. I mean, that's how big the pop was for him. I don't know what title. I'm not saying give him the WWE or whatever.
They need to give MVP the strap because of his rap. That's it. Give him the freaking strap.
That was
very good. Sports,
we were dying.
Entertainment.
That was a runner-up for Chef's Kiss, honestly.
You know what, Joey? I should have added that to it. Yep, agreed. That rap. Wow.
If you're looking for my thoughts on Hell in a Cell, it's a great show. Great to be there live. A hot crowd's always awesome to see. Women's triple threat was an instant banger. It seemed like everybody, not just the women, but the men, like Elias and KO, even Madcap and Corbin. It seemed like everybody was on their A game.
Whoa. Who'd you say with Kevin Owens?
Ezekiel.
Okay.
That's
Elias' younger brother. I'm so sorry. That's Elias' younger brother. I had a little.
Man.
You know what?
How dare you?
I don't like liars like Kevin Owens. Okay, but Ezekiel's superior in terms of just the overall feel of the night. It was really, really good. I was actually very surprised for a pay-per-view that only had 6 matches on the card. I didn't really know what to expect, but I'm glad they kept it under 3 hours, or at least 3 hours in general. Hell in a Cell was fantastic, with Cody coming in, being as passionate as he can be, coming in with a torn pectoral muscle. That's not easy to do. That's not easy to do at all. I get hurt just stubbing my toe, needless to say.
With all the depictions of him and Triple H, the mirroring with, the torn pec, the sledgehammer, the pedigree, just everything. High for me was definitely Seth freaking Rollins versus Cody Rhodes in Hell in the Cell. Yeah. I shit on Cody when he was on AEW. He was definitely overrated in my eyes. But this man has earned my respect. Like, yeah, he definitely, that's badass. Wild as fuck, but badass. And my low, I think the low was like Madcap lost and Happy Corbin. Like, I get that we're trying to like push I mean, I hope they change his name. I mean, his gear looks sweet, like intro and all of that. It looked amazing, but yeah, we'll see. I think that feud's done because Happy's done. Like, his neck got severed or something, so he'll be out for some time. But we'll see.
Nothing classic like an attempted murder on pay-per-view or premium live event, excuse me. But yeah, I'd agree with you there, Rich. The low definitely for me was probably Madcap and Corbin, mostly because nobody grabbed a table. We specifically asked for tables, and nobody grabbed a table. High of the night, definitely Rhodes and Rollins, because Rollins grabbed the table. Not only that, Rhodes gave a hell of a performance. Both men did very well in the Hell in a Cell match. But I also want to throw another high in there as well, too, and that was that 6-person mixed tag match, because Judgment Day versus Balor, Styles, and Liv, that was really, really good. I feel like that might have been second match of the night, if we're being honest with us.
I completely overlooked that match. I completely forgot about it. It was pretty damn good. Honestly, I know we just saw Finn, turn, and then they turned on Edge. Mm-hmm. I honestly thought he was going to do that at the pay-per-view. I thought for sure Finn was going to turn on AJ there and just kind of say, fuck you, and join him. I think Joey said it best. Like, they just completely rushed the turning on Edge deal, in my opinion. I get it because Cody's hurt. We've got all these other guys dropping like flies, not only there, WWE and AEW. So they need babyface talent, I guess. I mean, there's still plenty of other guys that could maybe potentially push in that spot. But yeah, that was a great match. I'm not going to discount that, but the next day definitely didn't do it for me personally.
Definitely. Another match that I guess kind of wasn't really. The one thing I would change about Hell in a Cell, though, is that Ali Theory match. Maybe have Ali win it. I don't know. Just the crowd was on his side. He needs something. Theory really doesn't need the U.S. title at this point, in my opinion, because, he's Vince McMahon's hand-picked protege.
Well, the reason for that is they're going to push him against John Cena here in a week or two whenever Cena comes. They've been teasing that on Twitter and stuff for a couple of weeks, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they just announced that he's coming back June 27th. That's the Raw before Money in the Bank, because Money in the Bank is July 2nd, I believe.
Yeah, so I'd expect Cena to come out and fuck with him a little bit. I don't think Cena would. I don't know who else he would go after. I mean, he's been posting about it on Instagram and Twitter. You know how he does his cryptic posts that have no background or anything to them.
I'm going to say we're going highs and lows, right? I'd probably say it because I don't want to be redundant. I don't want to say the Rollins and Cody match because we all know that was a banger, right? We've all agreed on it. We all said it. I'm going to say the high of the night, other than that, was actually the triple threat to start the show. Like, the crowd was hot. The ladies put on a good match. I don't understand why. I mean, I get it. Bianca's just like unreal, right? Unreal talent. I love Asuka. Asuka's so fucking good. She's always putting on good matches. Like, yeah, she's kind of had the same character, but like, she's just a badass. She goes in, just beats the shit out of everybody. Like, it's great. It's phenomenal. So I'm going to say that's going to be the high. The low, the Omos match kind of like, I just don't get it. Like, I get like Bobby is made out to be this big fucking beast. And yeah, like they should put the title back on him as like the good guy, right, to beat Roman. But like, I just like Omos can't, like, he's so limited in the ring, and like now he's with MVP, and like, yeah, MVP just cut that sick rap.
It's almost as if we've seen this movie before. You know, Giant Gonzalez, Great Khali, now Omos has that spot. You know, these bigger guys get such a spotlight because they're so big. Pardon the, for lack of a better term, they're big, but they can't really do much. Like they don't even bend their knees as much as other guys on the roster. So, I mean, the only reason they're there is to be a special attraction, which I get. You need that, but it's not translating well, obviously, you know?
Well, and the thing is too, like, if you're going to book that, like, you want Bobby to look strong and big, and maybe this is like what they're going to do for like the future, but like Lashley beat up MVP. Like MVP is a old little bitch, right? Like that's like that's what he's trying to be, is like the old little bitch. And then Omos is like the big, you know, they're trying to protect him, but like, who are you trying to build here? Are you trying to build Bobby? You're trying to build Omos. Like if you're trying to build Bobby, you should have him just beat the shit out of Omos. Like obviously, like, you know, they book it more detailed than just, hey, beat the shit out of him. But like, you want him to go over the big ass dude, and then all of a sudden he challenges Roman, which like we know it's not going to happen, but like he challenges Roman and then he gets the title and it's all good. But like now, like I'm sure the storyline will continue into Money in the Bank, and I'm sure it's gonna, well, actually probably not, because it's WWE booking, so it'll probably be done next week. But like, it is what it is, right? And then I'm sure there's going to be something with Cedric in there too. It's the same story. We've seen this the last like 4 years, where they just like these recycled storylines. You see it happening, and like there's no real, you know, you want to talk about that the Judgment Day turn. Like I just digested those three as a group, and then the next day, like Balor turns, they all turn on Edge, right? And I get it. Cody tore his pec. He's probably the number one baby face right now, but like, build other people, you know?
I agree with Nick on match of the night being a three-way. I enjoyed the hell out of that three-way match to kick off Hell in a Cell on Sunday. A little bit of notes here, and for the most part, we covered everything. We haven't really talked about AEW, so I guess whenever you guys are ready, we can talk about AEW.
What's AEW?
All Elite
Oh, that's all.
Wrestling.
Yeah, that's All Elite Wrestling, Rich. That is, Tony Khan's company.
So,
Who's Tony Khan?
Jesus Christ. As y'all are aware, we started teasing everything pretty hard during that pay-per-view. We had some mixed thoughts about a lot of things that happened. Me personally, I felt like it was their weakest show that they've put on. Number one, it was probably the worst show in my opinion. I know a lot of people liked the match with the Jericho Appreciation Society and Mox and them, because, you know, throwing shades back to the old ECW and deathmatch and all that kind of shit. I was pretty much lost the entire time, and that's basically what our little teaser video is about, just us freaking the fuck out because there's just so much chaos happening. I think.
Would you say it was anarchy?
It was supposed to be batshit crazy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I believe like it was an homage to like ECW, and you know, and like New Jack, and with the continuation of like playing the song over and over again. But if you're gonna use the Wild Thing song, like get the like more, not the Wild Thing. I felt like I was in the 80s. I was watching Stranger Things or something like that, and then I was like, "What the hell is going on?" Yeah, I think that was the low, and another low was too fucking long, y'all. It was 5 hours, 5.5.
Yeah,
and then they had the scrum right after, and that was another 2.5 hours. So you're talking about talent being there. Let's say, well, noon over there on like the West Coast, and then, you know, going through all the preparations for your match, going through it all, and then a 5-hour pay-per-view, and then another 2 hours from. That's a lot. and I was exhausted. So I mean, it was definitely not my favorite pay-per-view that they've done so far. I mean, you're due for a bad one. But at the end of the day, yeah, I was definitely lost. I think the highlight was the pre-show with Danhausen and Hook versus Smart Mark Sterling. And
I said it before the
Tony
show
Nese.
even started.
Yeah, even before the show started. Which is, right, and that's sad. Well, I mean, the other highlight was Wardlow and MJF, but I mean, yeah, it was too long. That's all I'm.
Now, here's the thing with that Double or Nothing pay-per-view. The thing is, they started off very strong. The MJF Wardlow match, perfect payoff for that. The thing you guys keep bringing up is just it's too long. You're right. It was too long because there's too many matches on the card, and I felt like there was just some matches that shouldn't have been on the card. Some of those matches should have been maybe Dynamite or Rampage after Double or Nothing, or try to make it something else worth watching. Promote it earlier on, because the one match I wanted to see was the main event. It was Hangman and Punk for the AEW World Title, and I fell asleep through the whole damn thing. I woke up and all of a sudden I see Punk holding the AEW World Title, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm not going to be mad, but at the same time, I'm a little miffed at myself for missing the pay-per-view, the end of the pay-per-view anyway. But I mean, the show still had its perks. I'll give it that. But just way too many matches that shouldn't have been on the card. Personally, Bucks and Hardys, it was a fine match. Cut it. Kyle O'Reilly, Darby Allin, again, fine match. Cut it.
You could almost argue the American Top Team match. Just because of the Sammy and Ty bullshit. I get it. They're heels. I get it.
That one.
Congrats on their nuptials. Congrats on their nuptials.
The congrats. That one I felt had to be there because they had Paige Van Zant finally wrestle, make her debut. I mean, she did a little bit. She didn't do a whole lot. I mean, it was okay. Definitely the Hardys match didn't need to be there. That was for sure a Rampage match at best, in my opinion. The Hardys are they're old. Jeff can't do the shit as much as he does. I think he's hurt now too, right?
Yeah, he was knocked out like 5 minutes into the match.
Yeah.
But that Ty and Sammy and Frankie match versus American Top Team, I felt like that needed to be on the card because it was just on weekly programming, no matter what, whether it was Dynamite or Rampage. That one actually deserved a spot on the card. In the grand scheme of things, too, I mean, that stipulation at the end of the match, I mean, American Top Team wins. Sammy and Frankie can't challenge for that TNT title ever again right now until maybe Scorpio drops the belt.
That's really, really, really want to see my guy Ricky Starks win. I know Joey does not like him. He's like a mini Rock, but I feel like potential is like way higher, especially on the mic. I feel like he could be 1,000 times better than him. His size isn't quite there. He's average. I mean, he's not like a small guy by any means, but he's not the.
I'm taller than him.
You're taller, yes, but you're taller than all of us, so that makes sense. I will say the one match I was really disappointed in was the tag team title match. I really think Jurassic Express needs to drop the belts. I think either of the teams that they face were worthy of winning that. Like I was just kind of pushing for a Ricky Starks win.
We love Team Taz.
Him and Team Taz in general, I think, needs to be elevated in some sort of way other than the FTW title because it's just there. I think those two could definitely use a push. Obviously, Swerve and Keith Lee, big name guys as well. I mean, they could potentially take those titles higher than what they are right now because I feel like the belts are just kind of forgotten about with Jurassic Express. I mean, they're not doing much. They just have Christian Cage there, lobbying with them, and they're obviously teasing Christian to turn on him at some point.
I feel like it's more of a tough love angle than a turn angle. I mean, everybody's expecting it.
I don't know.
That's the thing, though. I just hope it's like a New Day thing where they're like they're disappointed in the loss, but at the end of the day, they're still united because they got a common ground, they got a common goal, and they just want to see the best for each one. So, I mean, I feel like it's more of a partnership thing versus a turn building. Because if Christian Cage turns on Jungle Boy, is that just him being pissed off at his own teaching methods not working on his own pupil? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, Jungle Boy had one of the hottest runs last year, elevating him and pushing him to the brink. And I mean, unfortunately, the Lucha Bros got hurt. Well, Ray Phoenix got hurt, and that's why they had to relinquish the belts to Jurassic Express. But yeah, they've definitely been boring. I have no interest in the tag team belts with Jurassic Express on there. As much as they tried to elevate Jungle Boy Jack Perry and Luchasaurus, and with Christian, that's just an odd couple to me, an odd three. And I don't know, I think Jungle Boy might have to get a new gimmick. Luchasaurus might need a new gimmick. They're feeling stale to me as tag team champions. And they're like the sixth best tag team in that division.
I'd agree. FTR needs the belts. PNP should get the belts. And honestly, they should have won the belts off of Penta and Ray. I think that should happen. That would have been like a passing of the torch type of deal there.
I sadly think the ship has sailed on Luchasaurus as Kane. But yeah, from day one, I was like, why is Jungle Boy the focus of this? Luchasaurus, to me, is more money than that. And it's ironic because on social media now in parts, people seem to be kind of kicking out in the mythical four pillars. I've seen people kicking Jungle Boy out, trying to put in Chad, your boy, Ricky Starks, or other people like that too. So I know I'm jumping back in after a gap. I know you were talking about tag team champions.
Yeah,
so.
No, but you're right. I mean, what's he doing? He's not doing much. He's not very good at speaking. I mean, his promos are...
And he's admitted that to his credit.
Yeah, I know he has. I'm not going to shit on him for that, but I think Ricky is way better when it comes to that. And I think Ricky is a pretty strong wrestler, too. I mean, from what I've seen just in AEW.
Yeah. No, I would say if MJF, the whole issue with that, if it's a work or a shoot. So a work means that it's part of the programming. For those that are new listening, I just want to do that. And then a shoot means this is real life action. So I'm leaning more towards a shoot. I think we're done with MJF. Hell of a wrestler, a hell of a heel. Learn the lines between what's a work and what's a shoot. I feel like Ricky Starks could be that guy that if MJF were officially gone, which it seems like that is, he can be the next heel that can go. I mean, I know he gets picked as Baby Rock, but there's a different aura, a different swagger about him that I feel like can elevate him if they push him correctly.
See, the thing is, I feel like a lot of you guys are comparing, no disrespect with me saying this, you guys are comparing these guys, Luchasaurus to Kane, Ricky Starks to Rock. Don't do that. They're trying to be their own person with each character and everything like that. Why are you making it the focus of Ricky Starks is like a young Rock when Ricky Starks is the first Ricky Starks to ever grace television screens? He was like this in NWA when he was the television champion as well too. He was like this all the time before AEW. He was absolute Ricky Starks. Same thing goes with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, though. Luchasaurus has a little bit more of a fuzzy backstory, I guess. It's one of those things where you guys have to stop comparing people to what these guys should be and compare them to what they were a couple of years ago versus what they are today. Obviously, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, bigger stars than they are, or than they were. They're still, their tag title run, don't get me wrong, it is getting a little long. I feel like Team Taz or even Swerve and Keith Lee should have won at that time, but it's one of those things in wrestling. They're building stars. They're doing this with everything like that. And the focus is they got to stop with long-term storytelling. I know long-term storytelling in the long run is great, but sometimes short stories, they sell too. Medium length stories, they sell too. Not everything has to drag about 3 months time or a year's worth of time in order for it.
All right. The first of many back and forths between us, Brian, I'm sure.
Let's fucking go, Joey. I'm ready for it, buddy.
So the whole first blank or the second whoever, I feel like most interviews are people that have been around for a minute. I'm sure if we look it up, and I'm on the spot, so I don't have it with me, but I'm sure that people have been asked, oh, who are your influences in the business? Very, very rarely am I going to say or guess that somebody's going to say nobody. What I'm saying, though, is that, for instance, Chad will probably agree with me on this. If not, that's fine. But what I would say is that, for instance, a Ricky Starks, you're going to tell me he's not influenced by The Rock at all? Like, maybe he's trying to add his own twist to it or his own layers, but there's influences or parts that are covered by so many people. So it's very hard now to be original. And sure, maybe he's not the second Rock, but there are Rock-like elements to him. And so I jokingly in the chat, for instance, and I've said this to Chad many times, I refer to Ricky Starks as Pebble because he's smaller Rock is the joke. He can be himself, but I think it's hard to say that, oh, they're entirely themselves when they've been influenced on varying degrees or taken bits and pieces from other people. That's just what I'll add. If you can respond, you're welcome to. And then I think we're going to transition.
So what I'm trying to say with this, Joey, is that meanwhile, while they are their own characters, I didn't really necessarily say they didn't have these influences molded into their character. Did I not? I didn't mention that they might have these influences in their characters. Of course, they have influences growing up. Who doesn't? Especially watching wrestling. There's a vast variety of different characters to watch and learn from, and especially study in terms of tape. There's a lot of media out there in terms of pro wrestling. So of course they're going to absorb some of those things, but they're making it their own thing, which is what you were saying. Of course, they're tweaking a few things here and there. You said there's a lot of Rock qualities in Ricky Starks. Same argument could be made about LA Knight or Max Dupree, as he's now known. So, I mean, all these different things, you can make an argument about every single little detail and everybody's nuances and everything like that. MJF, he's got stuff that's Flair, Piper, anything in him. You know, any heel in the history of heels, MJF has that little quality, but he's still his own person. And that is what I'm trying to get across.
It does. One thing I'll say, and then Chad and Rich can move us forward, is that I just don't think that comparisons, and you didn't say this, but one thing I do just want to end with for this chunk is that just because you're comparing somebody to a maybe person that they took influences from, it doesn't mean it's automatically a bad thing. I'm not saying you said this, but I'm saying it doesn't hurt to make those comparisons.
I mean, we were all influenced by different characters. That's why we're talking about damn wrestling right now.
Love it.
Yeah, because we love it. And, you know, everybody has their gimmick and they have to tweak it each way. And some things go over and some things don't go over. So going over means it's popular. For the I'm trying to get people acclimated with the lingo and the jargon. So going over is making sure that they are popular. Some gimmicks don't go over and some stick, and that's what these wrestlers, these performers are trying to figure out what hits with the audience. One match that we want to see in the upcoming Forbidden Door, that's going to be held in Chicago, Illinois at the United Center. And it's going to be epic because it's going to be the promotions of All Elite Wrestling, AEW, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, so at JPW. And we don't know what the cards are going to be, so this is our opportunity to do some fantasy booking. And gentlemen, if you have one wish list of what you would like at Forbidden Door and why, let's hear it.
Well, we did have a little teaser of what could have been at Forbidden Door, CM Punk and Hiroshi Tanahashi. But if we're talking fantasy booking, if we're talking like, what do you want to see? Give me Suzuki, give me Joe. That's the match I want to see. I want another series with Samoa Joe and Minoru Suzuki. Because their match on Dynamite for the Ring of Honor television title, that was my eyes were glued to the screen. All right, that's all.
That's chop fest. That's what it was. Chop, 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 chop.
We love hoss fights. We love them, and when they're done right, they're done right. And Minoru Suzuki knows how to do a hoss fight properly.
I think this one hurts because obviously we've got Punk out, Danielson's apparently hurt.
Cole's hurt.
Cole's hurt. This would have been a good opportunity to bring Kenny back. Just because I think he's had some history there. I would also argue, well, as a tag match, because I'm still dying to see the Bucks turn on Cole and them, and that whole Kenny saga too. Bucks versus the Good Brothers. That'd be kind of interesting if that whole scenario would have played out in some sort of fashion.
The match that I would look forward to, and they've been teasing it, Okada versus Hangman Adam Page on the card. I think Adam Page needs a redemption story, and I would love to see him channel his inner heel. And because if we look at his AEW reign, it was definitely underwhelming. And given the circumstances that you had all of these other talent that came in with Cole, with Danielson, with Punk, it pretty much overshadowed Adam Page, who's an AEW original reign. So I think this would be a nice redemption arc for him. I would love to see him go heel. And we'll see. Well, they're teasing it with tomorrow's card. So he's wrestling tomorrow. So we'll see if there's any heelishness, and we'll see if he turns full heel at Forbidden Door. But that is my match that I would love to see.
Because this card will obviously be very, very, very long, I think a filler match, a comedy match to include, would be a combination of Danhausen versus Toru Yano, comedy versus comedy, a good way to buffer it in between. Or if we want to keep Hookhausen a thing and have them involved, you could do Hookhausen versus Toru Yano, maybe a serious guy. I know Brian will flip his table or whatever he has in front of him, but maybe Toru Yano and Minoru Suzuki. A comedy with serious into that 5 minutes, not 15, not 25. Get in, get out, comedy. Let the crowd breathe for a minute.
I'd be down for that, in all honesty. I'm not going to lie. Like, nobody sells a comedy match like Minoru Suzuki. I just saw a clip of that online, and it's pretty fucking great.
Nick, do you have a match you want to include?
Man, there's so many of them. Okay. I don't know. I think the one match I would like to see, I would have liked to see Punk versus Okada, genuinely. But actually, I kind of want to see, here's an underrated one, and nobody's mentioned him yet. But I would genuinely like to see Ospreay wrestle Swerve. Swerve or Ricky Starks, I think, would be a fun match because they're just, athletic. I love Ricky Starks. I love Swerve. Love Ospreay. But that's probably or a combination of whatever, right? I think that would be really cool. Obviously, there's everybody wants to see Kenny Ibushi. I think that would be an interesting one.
I was just thinking because I was like Ospreay versus MJF, but MJ's whole situation, that's out of the picture as of now. But if not that, then Juice versus Starks, I think that would be pretty good.
Not a huge New Japan guy, even though we went to the New Japan show back in back in April. So this is just fantasy booking for shits and giggles. I would probably do Adam Cole, the Young Bucks, and Undisputed Elite. I'll do them 5 because we already know we're gonna get a shit ton of multi-man matches for this card. And I'll do Switchblade, the Club, Juice Robertson, and either the newly edition of Ace Austin or Chris Bay.
How's that gonna work when they're all Bullet Club?
That's why I'm saying it. Okay, that's just something out there. Again, we're gonna expect a shit ton of multi-man matches, so that's my multi-man match. Shits and gigs. I know it's not gonna happen. It'll probably be a variation of the 5 against somebody at 5, some other 5. Who knows who?
Also, with this whole discussion with AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door, have we discussed the possibility of a women's match on this card? Because New Japan Pro Wrestling, if not many of you guys know, that's an all-male roster. Do we see Stardom inclusions? Because if we're doing Stardom inclusions, if we're doing women's matches, give me Kairi, give me Hikaru Shida. Let's go.
If you have not done so, please like, share, subscribe to Do the Move podcast here on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv. This is a community thing. Please, we're looking for feedback. I've gotten some feedback from my significant other. So we're trying to make this better, and we're trying to make this for you as wrestling fans. This is our first show, so props to Chad for like getting it started. I know Nick left, but props for him to do the move. Props to Joey for being Joey. No, props to Joey for having an inside. No, for having an inside opinion. I appreciate Bob. Love you, bro. Love that, Johnny. Love you, man. We can always talk about football too. Brian, you know you're my guy. So I love you all.